Hello, this is Arlene Cohen-Miller of Jewel Consultancy, and welcome to the Inner Coach, Inner Critic portion of this course. And, the inner coach and inner critic is really critical to really coming to an unknowing of how we can feel more worthy and have more confidence in ourselves. Because let's really take a moment to talk about the inner critic, because there is so much criticism coming at us from all places in our society. Maybe it came from our parents or people that were a significant role in our lives. Maybe even comes from our genetic line, where, people from, our genetic line, maybe whether it's Irish or Catholic or whatever it is, there was a lot of criticism, and that's kind of engendered in the culture. And so that can be a part of who you are, who we are as well. It can come to us in schools from our teachers. It can come to us from our peers and friends when we're growing up, and even now, if we don't conform to a certain way that they think that we should be. So it really comes from us in all different ways. And so how do we handle that? Well, most people handle that by putting their inner critic into gear. And how it works is this. The inner critic inside of us decides that, and this is not rational, it's not rational at all, but this is just an inner workings that a lot of us have that I want to explain to you, is that the best way not to be hurt is to criticize ourselves harder than we think that we're going to be criticized in any moment. Now, that doesn't make any sense, does it? But that's what we do. So in other words, if we have a perceived moment where we feel that someone is going to criticize us for something that we're doing, thinking, saying, anything being, we'll go into gear, even if it's just going on in our mind, even if it's not even anything to do with what they're thinking or going to say to us. We'll build it up in our mind, and we'll start criticizing ourselves harder than we think they are going to criticize us, so that when they criticize us, it won't hurt as bad. So that's the dynamic of the inner critic. And what we're going to work on and work towards and align towards accomplishing for ourselves during this course, and it'll have to be something that you continue to work with once the course is over, is dismantling the inner critic. Because we created our own inner critic, so the cool thing about that is we can uncreate it. We can let it know that thank you, but no thanks, we're not doing it that way anymore. And we can start working with our inner coach. And that's really, really cool, because it's like we're not depending on anybody else. We're not looking outside of ourselves to change anything. We're just becoming more and more aware of how we talk to ourselves, how we make ourselves feel, and going, you know what? That's the old. And I'm not going to do that anymore. I know that I instructed you, my inner critic, my ego, to talk to myself like that, to talk to me like that. But that is how it used to be. And we're going to do it a new way now. So it sounds pretty simple. The problem is that our inner critic is fairly ingrained into our psyche, into our way of being. So oftentimes, our inner critic is talking to ourselves, and we are not even aware of it until maybe later. We're not even aware of it in the moment till we stop and go, wow, I've been driving the car for half an hour. How have I been talking to myself? Or sometimes, we even in the shower in the morning, or when we're getting ourselves ready to, be presentable for the world, we're not saying very nice things to ourselves. And so the first step is, of course, awareness. Just really taking the time to be aware of how we talk to ourselves. Because what I found was the way I was talking to myself, I would not talk to anybody else in the world. I wouldn't, because, why would they want to be my friend? Why would they want to associate with me if I talk to them like that? It's counterproductive. It's counterproductive, so we don't do that to others, so why do it to ourselves? It's something to stop. So we're going to be energizing and empowering and going, yay, for our inner coach. And so in this section, I'm going to be giving you some audios and some written material to work with to empower, from a very loving perspective, our inner coach. And so I just want to remind you that what we focus our attention on, what we align to, is what we become. So let's just choose to align to our inner coach and not beat ourselves up if we feel and all of a sudden realize that our inner critic has been in motion. Because what we can do with our inner critic is when we notice it, go, oh my God, instead of judging it and taking that whip and beating ourselves up for, not supporting ourselves, is go, wow, I'm doing that again. Wow, I'm doing that again. That's really interesting. Noted. Hey, I'm not doing that anymore. And really feel and visualize at that moment how, if you had been your inner coach, how you would have been talking to yourself, what you would have been saying to yourself, the feelings that you would have been having, and really feel it and come to know it. And even talk to yourself like that for a few minutes until you can really let go and release all that energy that's not of you and not of love, with gratitude and self-acceptance, going, wow, thank you for showing me that. That's the old way of the way I used to be, and I'm not doing that anymore. So it's a pretty big assignment, because what it really is just an ongoing process. So we'll get it initiated here, and it's really up to you to continue to work with your inner coach on an ongoing basis. So I'll give you the tools, but it's up to you to continue to use those tools so that your inner coach becomes more and more and more of who you are and how you talk to yourself and how you treat yourself, because you're absolutely worthy of it. You're worthy of that support. You're worthy of that self-respect, and you are worthy of that love. So have fun with your inner coach. I wish you all the best. I'd love to hear from you as you go through the process, and take really good care.